Mamas, welcome back to another empowering episode of Mamas Who Lead. I'm your host, Laura Carafino, and this is the podcast where we have real conversations about leadership, business, and the journey of motherhood because we know that leading in life starts right at home. So today we're tackling a topic that so many parents face, and that is how to support our teens academically and emotionally without adding pressure. So let's be real. Being a teenager today isn't easy at all. Between academic stress, social pressures, and the looming decisions about life after high school, it can be overwhelming. And for parents, we're trying to guide them, support them, and help them to succeed, all while making sure we're not adding to their stress. And that's why I'm so excited to introduce you to today's guest, Tara Brasier. Tara is an education life coach with over 25 years experience working with students and families all across Ontario. And she's what she calls an empowerment alchemist, helping teens build confidence, navigate big transitions, and step into their personal power. So, Tara has dedicated her career to reducing the pressure students face while also equipping parents with practical strategies to create a balanced, healthy approach to education. So if you're a parent wondering how to help your teen thrive without feeling like you're walking a tightrope, this episode is for you. So let's dive in. Tara, oh my gosh, I love how you frame education as more than just grades. It's about resilience, growth, and curiosity. And your approach isn't about perfection, but about helping students and families move forward with confidence, even when the road feels a little uncertain, right? So before we
Yes.
get into these strategies with parents, I would love to hear more about your journey, what inspired you to become an education life coach, and how you developed this passion for helping like teens and families through this crazy transition.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Laura. I'm happy to be here with you. So,
Welcome.
as an educator with 25 years of experience and providing and being an academic and life coach for students, I've worked with people with diverse backgrounds and learning needs. I've taught and coached here in Ontario, as you mentioned, as well as over in Australia. I went to Australia for Teachers College, as a matter of fact. I've taught in mainstream and special education through private and public organizations from the kindergarten level all the way up to the college level. And I've seen a massive need for programs to help students figure out who they are, to visualize a future full of opportunities, and to map out their pathway beyond high school. As I worked through the years of the pandemic, I saw that need grow exponentially, as I'm sure everyone did around us. I, working through the years of the pandemic and then past pandemic, I watched the true impact that it was having on our young people's education and their lives. But I knew that the total picture of that was yet to be revealed. And it kind of lit a fire under me to develop something that encompassed all of my skills, my passions, connections, and creativity that was really going to make a big impact. Um, and because the reason for that is that, we're seeing more and more now, again, during the pandemic, but it's the post-pandemic
Mhm.
hangover, if you will, that just hasn't gone away. There's a growing disconnect between Gen Z and traditional education. So students are feeling lost, unmotivated, and unsure about their future. And when it comes to guiding that transition, I certainly realize that mums are the teens' first leaders, but they can often feel just as overwhelmed, especially by that question, what's next? They can feel as overwhelmed as teens do.
Oh, and I know that all well. I'm in the thick of it right now too, with a senior in high school. So I'm really, as I told you earlier, I'm so excited to talk to you about this because it is. I think that what you said, the pandemic was, it had a huge impact on our kids that are now graduating and having these pressures. So, moms often feel responsible for keeping their teen on track. I know I do personally, but how can we empower them to take ownership of their, own learning and future decisions after, we've pretty much been teaching them because we were home for so long with them, right? With during the pandemic, teaching them through online learning. So how do we do that? How do we navigate that?
Yeah, so as I previously mentioned, that what's next question is kind of the question that every teen dreads, especially in current day. But we know that the right answer to that or the next answer to that can really change their life. And it's about finding ways to have teens step into their authentic selves. Confidence comes from knowing who you are authentically. So this means engaging in different kinds of experiences, cultures, social dynamics, but perhaps equally or maybe even more importantly is asking them to guide them through reflecting on what matters most to them, what skills they possess, what skills they're curious about learning, what they might want to invest some time in, and surely what their values are. I find in the work that I've done with a lot of people, when you say the word values, there's kind of this blank stare. And if you don't have your values identified, you're kind of moving at the whim of the wind without any anchor to tell you if you're headed in the right direction or not. So the key between parents and teens is really about coming at it from more of a curiosity rather than control. So instead of saying or having that concept in your conversations of, but you need to figure out about your future, you need to make some decisions, trying the approach of more what excites you, like what gets you up, when you are up, teens don't like to get up generally, but when they are up,
No.
what inspires you to go and engage with the world around you? Um, the other thing, as humans, we inherently want to help. It's in our human DNA to want to help and support others. So if we can find experiences or lead the discussions that are asking teens to think about what are the problems and challenges that you see in the world right now that you feel fired up about? And then, once they establish this, then they can start to engage, or you can lead them to engage with different types of potential solutions to the issues that they have an interest in. So it might mean having meaningful conversations with people that are already working on creatively solving those problems. So, for example, if someone is sustainable energy is very big, and I know our young people are feeling the pressure of that because of what those of us who have come before them, um, the practices that we embraced. But if a youth is really desiring to see a change in sustainable energy, it can be a springboard for them to get into real world connections with people in the field. And that might mean that as moms, we're looking at our networks, we're asking our networks to look at their networks. Where can we find a soft lead so that there can be an actual direct connection for them? Where can we find experiences and foster our kids going out and spending a day out in the field with someone, or going out to dinner with them or coffee with them and having a conversation where they can understand and get, not just here's the learning that you need to have, here are the letters after your name, here are the paper tickets, but more, this is actually what it's like to be in this industry. Because not only are they getting that real world experience and they are growing their network, but it's lower risk for them too. That idea of going to post secondary can feel so overwhelming for
Mhm.
them, but bringing it back to a lower stakes, but yet still invested experience can open up that avenue for them to have the desire for deeper exploration.
You brought up a thing about like it could be a little overwhelming for them. So, I know it's not just about getting into college or a career for their next steps or whatnot, but there's an emotional side to it, as you were pointing out. Like, how can moms prepare their teens holistically for that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what I guess I would say is there are three key areas that moms really want to look at in terms of readiness. So, emotional readiness, academic readiness, and life readiness. When it comes to emotional readiness, it doesn't matter what generation we came from. We all want ownership of our own choices. I think the real difference today, and probably a bit of a take your breath away moment for parents, is that the choices and teens, but the choices are so vast. So, how do we keep up with all of the choices to
Mhm.
help direct them? I think that we can get caught up in the I have to know everything to help them. No, we have to help our teens feel that ownership, but also help them believe in themselves that they can take ownership so that they feel empowered to know that they are in the driver's seat when it comes to making decisions about their future. Um, we have this sort of knee-jerk reaction to label experiences or choices as good or bad, but those labels really aren't helpful. I believe in our conversations with our kids, it's important that we teach them that all experiences are valid and important, that we can glean something from
Mm.
every experience we have. So whether
That's
that's
good.
right, like whether that's a
Yeah,
social
that is so good.
experience, for example,
Yeah.
post-COVID, how many people of any age, but particularly our teens, our young people, social anxiety is through the roof, you know?
Yes. Hmm.
But taking a bit of a risk out there. So, whether that is having a social experience or taking a workshop that they're investing time or money in, or if it's that leap to enrolling in a post secondary program, but it's something that they then pivot from. It's not the first choice that they stick with and they pivot. It's okay. They can glean something of value from every experience. And the key point really is it's more than just that punitive life lesson lens that we can thrust upon ourselves.
Hmm.
It's that we really can gain knowledge and skills in every experience that are transferable for whatever comes next. It's the fact we have to teach our young about being open to seeing that.
Mm. Gosh, yes. Yeah, when you look at it through that lens, that just opens a whole different perspective. So it kind of takes away that fear of failure in a way, I guess you could
Yes.
say. The fear of moving forward, or fear of unknown for the most part, as long as they're gaining that experience and, any experience is good. How you said that I was just love that. Very powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And this leads itself to the life readiness. So if we
Yes.
help teens rather see beyond the grades, it's about learning essential life skills too. So as you mentioned, mistakes. Down when I was teaching at George Brown College, one of the first fundamentals I would ask my students, and my students down there ranged in age from 17 to, as I mentioned earlier in our discussion, 67. My eldest student was 67. But regardless of their age, it was about asking them to be willing to be vulnerable and that
Mm-hmm.
the recognition that mistakes are an integral part of the human experience. You know, without them, we're just spinning our wheels. We really do need to recognize the value. It's feedback. It's feedback, right?
Yeah.
And so, in addition to that, skills like financial literacy, communication, problem solving skills, these are the types of daily and life skills, that life readiness lens that we want to be supporting our teens through as well. That transition to post secondary, leaving home for a lot of them, even if you aren't leaving home, even if you're living at home while going to college or university, it's a very, very big leap. So having them engage in chores at home, having them go out and whatever the tasks are from a very young age that you can encourage them to be doing to gather those life skills, they're going to serve them very well when they're moving on beyond high school as well.
So what would you say are some more ways that, the moms can encourage independence and responsibility in their teens before they step in adulthood. Would it, suggest, I know you were just talking about maybe some chores and stuff for the little ones. What can you do? Do you have any specific things that you would suggest for them?
When we want to tie that in, I think one of the big things that perhaps we were not taught very well in our younger years, but we really want to help our young people learn is that financial literacy piece. So tying in chores to financial responsibility, financial gain, meaning if you are
Mhm.
going to take the responsibility of setting the table every day and clearing it and putting it in the dishwasher or doing the hand dishes, helping out around the house, have a conversation with them. How often do you think you would be able to do this? And what value would you place on that? What value do you place on that? You know, that's inviting them into the conversation. We in life have so much external input on us about what we think we should be worth instead of letting
Mm,
that come from within us. The other thing is, scheduling. When
mm.
we look at scheduling too and time management, yeah, of course, as moms, we want to be there for our kids every step of the way. We want to take them wherever they need to go, all of the lessons, all of the social engagements, all of the appointments, everything. And yet, how or when are we teaching them there are life responsibilities and time responsibilities for everyone in the household. Let's look at a schedule together and talk about when we might be able to fit X, Y, or Z in. When would the best time to be? When wouldn't be a good time and why? What's going on for everyone in the household at that time? So really broadening their perspective of things.
Mm.
I really don't think that takes away from them as an individual. I actually feel that gives them an opportunity to see, wow, I am a part of something much bigger than myself.
That's some really good advice there. I, you know, that I'm going to implement that now with my 4 and 8-year-old.
Okay.
Uh, yes, it's never too late. Um, so now, okay, yeah, what do you tell the moms that maybe like me, who may have some struggle of letting go and trusting their teen that they're making the best decisions during this process, like allowing them to make those decisions? I know this is a struggle for me.
Yeah. So, well, I think it is for everyone, right? Honestly, I feel the more that we are working on that aspect within our own selves and
Mhm.
trusting our own decisions, the more we are emitting out there for our kids to pick up on in the subconscious. Oh, this is what it's like to be making decisions that I can trust for my own self and my own good. And I think another key important aspect is that moms shouldn't have all of the answers because
Mm,
no matter what our age, life is not an enriching experience if we're just fed all of the next steps without our own stamp on the journey. So
mm, so
Your
good.
right, your question about when knowing when to let go a bit. First of all, knowing that letting go is the right thing to do. I
Hmm.
liken this to from an educator's perspective. My job is to work myself out of a job with the students in front of me, right? So that
Mm,
they are growing and evolving beyond where I'm at. And they move on to their next
right,
teacher or mentor, right? Now, that's not to say that they're
right.
going to fly from the nest of the home and never return. It's not that. It's actually the opposite, right? It's allowing them to have that freedom again within their own selves and their own environment and the trust that you are there. So letting your teens know again about the mistakes is part of the integral part of the human experience, and that it's not just okay to make mistakes, but it is necessary. Uh, but also, moms are modeling leadership by embracing curiosity, adapting to
Mm,
change, and showing resilience. So,
mm,
as moms, we're constantly finding our ability to grow And the hope then is that we're modeling that to our kids as well. And the way to that is self-reflection. So asking yourself things, being self-reflective and asking yourself, where do I have a fixed mindset? Where am I
Mm,
telling myself that I'm not good at certain things or I can't accomplish specific dreams? Because when we're doing that, which we aren't perfect beings, we're human beings, right?
right.
If we don't know that that's happening, it's running the program, and we are showing our kids that, and they will in turn be behaving that way as well. But when we're
Mm,
self-reflective of that and we go, oh, look at me, look at that, I was limiting myself there, interesting, then it
yes.
opens our avenue to say, well, what's the opposite to a fixed mindset? That's a growth mindset. So meaning remembering the concept of not yet. And this is
Mm,
a
hmm.
very important aspect to share with our children through our own modeling first. So, modeling the growth mindset means embracing that playfulness, that I haven't succeeded in doing something yet. Having
Yes.
an open mind, a playful perspective, and embracing optimism. And the more we as moms are able to do that for ourselves, the more our teens will observe this and be curious. That's the hope that they can have about how they can do that for their own selves um, in their quest to figure out what's next for them.
Yeah, oh, yes. Not yet.
Not yet.
Uh, not yet. And that's training your brain to flip the switch and start saying that, I started to do that with my little kids. They said, he was doing something, my youngest, and he's like, I can't do that. And I was like, you can't do that yet. You just need to
Exactly.
put in a little bit of practice. So I love that perspective. So, well, many moms, really struggle with feeling like they have to be perfect guides for their teens during this process. I know I felt like that. What advice do you have for those feeling a little overwhelmed by this transition right now?
Yeah. So I think it's really at the crux of it, reaffirming
Mm, mhm,
to your teens that they're not alone in the process. They have your support. Again, moms don't have to have all the answers figured out. That's not our job. Our job is to be the constant, the grounding, the open door, the person to bounce the ideas off of, the person to lead our kids to possibilities. But we don't have the answers. We aren't telling them what the next step is. When we do that, we're closing the possibility for the teens, again, to take ownership of their lives, for them to be able to have a self-monitoring. Is this something I want to go
mhm,
toward or not? And it's really about creating the environment where our kids feel safe, supported, and empowered to make their own decisions and be that driver in their own life. Um, Mums are the foundation, right? But you don't have to build the
mhm.
house by yourself. Leadership isn't about having all of the answers. It's about creating an
True.
environment, again, where we feel safe, supported, and empowered. That's our main job.
Safe, supported, and empowered. I love that. All right, now here's another really good question, one I've struggled with. How do we help a teen who is struggling with motivation without turning into that nagging parent?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting because I was looking at, I believe it was the Walden Gallup survey that's put out every year. I was looking at the 2023 results. The 2024 have just come out, but I have not yet had a chance to look at them. But in 2023, the survey was really looking at Gen Z motivation and
Mhm,
satisfaction. I think there is perhaps a tie to the um, instant gratification that is
mm,
developing an expectant perspective of instant results, right? Um,
yes.
Finding purpose, I believe, again, going back to the beginning of our conversation about finding what fires the teens up. Now, if it's not coming
Mhm,
out in a conversation with yourself as mom, What experiences, what's going on in the community? Is it volunteering, for example? There is so much purpose that can come from helping and supporting others in need. And you never know when you go out to these types of engagement experiences, what you'll glean from it. Yes, you're going to be helping others, but you don't know who you're going to meet. The conversation that you might have with the least expected person, that is going to spark that imagination. But I would also, something we haven't yet talked about today is reflective journaling. Now, reflective journaling can take on the approach of traditional pen to paper writing. And in fact, I do encourage that. However, I also encourage the digital version just as much because if picking up pen and paper is a barrier to really allowing your thoughts and feelings to flow, go digital. But those two methods aren't the only way either. Can we sing it out? Can we dance it out? Can we take photographs? Can we be in nature? Nature is something I feel is way underrated, but yet so powerful in terms of the inspiration, the satisfaction and the sense of purpose in the connection to all that is around us. And I think it is one of our main guiding sources that can help us understand and our teens understand what truly is the next right step for us and help us be reflective that way.
Do you think there's any questions that like moms could or should ask their teens to kind of help them open up? Like, do you have specific questions that would be gate openers for that conversation?
I do actually. Something about, I believe that there's always conversation to be had every day about what we're grateful for. Something that we struggled with in a day. Our teens, although at times, yeah, they don't want to be seen, the truth is we all want to be seen. And so opening the door to talk about what's working, but also what you struggle with is really important. Again, the what gets you fired up or what are you most what upsets you about the world around you right now? That's a really empowering question as well. And laying the groundwork that it doesn't mean we have to come up with the answers right now. It's exploratory, but let's see. Let's look at what's driving you, what's got you interested or upset about that problem, and how can we just dip a finger in, dip a toe into that world and see what it uncovers.
I love that. Just open, asking them what they're, seeing and, things that are happening that interest them. Those are good questions. Now let's see, like, what would you say or any advice for a mom if they see their teen shutting down, like due to
Mm.
stress? Like, what's the best way to approach that conversation if they're really stressed and, you know, just closed down?
Yeah. I think, again, coming from a place of wanting to let them know that you you see that they're struggling,
Mhm.
you're their mom, that they'll know that you're gonna know, but reaffirming for them that you do see them. Um, the empowerment piece comes in if you want to talk, I'm here. If you don't want to talk about it right now, that's okay. Um, we don't have to talk about it in this moment. Our next step right now is just let's pick a time. Because what happens often is sometimes there's a thing as too much space. So if we say, it's okay if you don't want to talk about it now, and we end the conversation, there's the scapegoat. There's the escape door, right? And that
Mhm.
will habitually happen. But if we say, it's okay to not talk about it now, we do need to talk about it. Let's pick a time. Let's pick a time right now. I want you to tell me how long you want to talk. Is it 10 minutes? Is it 15 minutes? Is it half an hour? And where do you want to be? Do you want to go for a walk? I think walks are underrated too. The science tells us that just 10 minutes of walking changes the brain chemistry. 15 minutes of walking starts to break the loop of the anxiety, because anxiety is a cascade of chemicals in the body, right? So we need to shift that relationship and that emotional cascade of chemicals that's happening so that we can have a new emotional response, which is being open to the world that we're seeing around us, breathing in that air and allowing them to, once you do get into that conversation, almost like having a safe word, like, we're going to talk, but if you're letting me, let me know what a safe word is, where you're saying, you know what, we're going into a territory where it's really getting me worked up, or it's really getting me shut down, or whatever the teen is expressing. um, and my word is pineapple. That means we're going to change the conversation for a bit, right? And of course,
Mhm.
then always letting them know that if it's too much pressure to talk with me right now, let's find someone that you can talk to. It's really important that we get you talking. And I understand that that might not be me, and I'm okay. I'm okay with that, but let's find someone who is.
That's yeah, that's I love the keyword that gives them a safe space and help them find someone to talk to if it's not them. Great, amazing tips. Here's a fun question. If you could give every high school student one superpower to navigate life's challenges, what would it be?
A superpower to navigate life's challenges. The ability to sit in quietude and stillness until you enter the space of all that ever was, ever is, or ever will be, because that is where all of the answers are. So it's sitting in the seat of all potential. That's a lifelong skill. Again, something that's not taught to us at school, not schools that I've been engaged with over 25 years anyway.
No.
And
Yeah.
it's not really something that too many families do as a family either, I would say. And yet, going back to the idea that if we're constantly going out here, if we're constantly looking at the algorithm for our answers, for our
Mhm.
dopamine hits, etc.,
Yep.
we're not in the driver's seat. But the way to get in the
No.
driver's seat is to calm down, be in the present, give yourself space away from all of the exterior noise and stimulation, and listen to your own heart's rhythm. Listen to the pullings from within.
Not many people, I don't know if any, I don't, not many people will probably give that an answer, but I would love to have that superpower and be able to do that. I mean, I do try to meditate. But it is hard. It's not easy. So that is a phenomenal superpower. Now, if you could give a mom one, what would it be? Same.
Mm. So, yes, yes, the same superpower. I think the world would be a much more grounded yet expansive place if we all had that superpower. But for moms specifically, the knowing that she is enough, that she is doing everything within her power and her brilliance to be the leader, the voice of connection, the grounding, and the conduit to opportunities for her children. That's the superpower.
Oh, I love that. Yes, please. Oh my goodness. Tara, this conversation has been such an eye-opener for so many of us moms, I'm sure, that are listening. You've helped us see that we don't have to have all the answers. We just need to create space for our teens to grow, learn, and make decisions with confidence. So, before we wrap up, if you could give one final piece of advice or anything else you would love to share with our listeners today who may be feeling a little overwhelmed by this phase of life like me,
Mm.
what would it be?
An invitation. I would give an invitation to carry on conversations, to stay in touch with your networks, to reach out to um, professionals and experts in the fields. that will guide your teens to the next steps, or at least to the next enriching experience without attachment that it has to be the perfect step. And I have an invitation, if I may.
Yes, please. I think
Okay.
you have like this amazing workshop coming up.
I do. So, it's a no pressure, starting point, I think, for parents to gain insight into their teens' challenges and solutions. So, I've developed a 5-part webisode series. It's a free webisode series called Elevating Youth in Education. It's happening from February 27th to April 1st. There are various dates for people to register for. The topics that we're looking at: vanishing students, confronting the crisis for chronic school absenteeism. As we know, it is an ongoing and growing issue that we're seeing North America wide for sure, possibly beyond that. And it's really about helping parents and educators lead Gen Z back to the classroom. The next one we dove into a little bit today about finding purpose, enhancing Gen Z youth satisfaction. So, how to help students find motivation and meaning in their life. Looking at the impact of AI on modern learning. So, navigating technology's evolving role in education. And I have a guest appearance from Tom Sherbluck, a data science professional, who will be joining me for that. And 2 more: the neurodivergent minds thriving in post secondary, supporting divergent learning needs beyond high school. Not only have I worked for 25 years with neurodivergent minds, I myself am someone of neurodivergent mind. So there's a lot to be shared in that episode. And then finally, for parents who are really looking for actionable steps about that step beyond high school, our post-secondary launchpad is a proven roadmap for teens transitioning to post-secondary and how you can set your teens up for long-term success. So moms can go to www.tarab.ca and /EYIE, and they will find all of the webisodes there to register for.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much. So everyone that is listening, go check that out, especially if you're in this phase of life right now. Tara, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom today. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we close out tonight?
Just that it's been an honor and a pleasure to be here with you, Laura. It's a continued conversation in many households, and I really look forward to connecting with so many people and helping families through this transition.
Thank you. It's just been an honor to have you here and you're sharing your wealth of wisdom with us, and especially, your 25 years experience. I know this is a very difficult transition for many moms. I'm being one of them that is in this season right now. This season of parenting is emotional, it's exciting, and sometimes it's exhausting. But I mean, it is. It is so exhausting.
Yes.
But it's also an opportunity for growth, both for our kids and for us as moms. And, to all our moms listening, you are not alone in this journey. Your love, support, and guidance matter more than you realize. Even when your team seems distant and or independent or just blocks you out, shuts the door, turns the radio on, it's still you matter. And if today's episode resonated with you, be sure to connect with Tara at tarab.ca and check out her incredible work helping families navigate these life transitions. And be sure to sign up for her free workshop. I know I will be. And if you found value in this conversation, please share this episode with another mom who needs to hear it. So until next time, keep leading, keep learning, and keep believing in your team's future and in yourself as their guide. We'll see you in the next episode.